Hey, what's up everyone? PersNikity here, moving on with the Rime walkthrough. This is going to be part 9, second to last video of the game, and we left off in the last video. We had just created from scratch this iRobot, otherwise known as the Sentinel, and in this video our objective is to resurrect the rest of the Sentinels. So I'm not sure yet what the title of this video is going to be, but probably something along those lines, like Resurrecting the Eye Robots or Army of Eye Robots. Still haven't come up with a plan on that yet. One thing, kind of a bummer, is, so I mentioned in the last video I have beaten the game, and it turns out that when you beat the game, you can do chapter select, and the game is actually made up of 5 different chapters, and that's actually very important. But again, I can't really say why. You'll just have to wait and see for when you play the game yourself. But each chapter is significant for a certain reason. So this walkthrough is going to end up being 10 videos when it could have ended up being 5, and I could have just named each video after its respective chapter. But that's just something that comes with the game, where you know, I didn't know that there was only 5 chapters, because that's not something the game tells you right away. And again, there's a reason they don't tell you that right away, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to say that reason, but you should be able to figure it out. I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure, because I'm probably not going to show the names of the chapter select options at the end of this game. So you might want to look up on, if most of you are probably playing along or something like that. If you're not playing this game, then after the walkthrough's over, I would recommend you maybe just do a Google search and say like the meaning of Rime or something like that, and I'm sure there'll be a couple YouTube channels that are analyzing the story and everything like that. But anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we still have a whole another video to take down, and this one is going to be about 15 minutes. I think it's a little over, and then the final video is going to be somewhere around 28 minutes. So I have just about under an hour of commentary left. So yeah, got to get through that. Unfortunately, I'm running out of talking points. One problem with this game, and it's not an actual problem, it's just something you'll notice, is that when you go from watching YouTube videos to making YouTube videos, it's a very different feeling. It's something you kind of got to get used to, and you start to notice a lot of things you never would have considered before you started making walkthroughs. And that's one of those things, is with commentary, you know, that's something you don't even think about. When you don't make the YouTube videos, you just watch the videos. You don't really think about what goes into the commentary. But for me, I always try to think of a couple ideas before I record the commentary of what I'm going to say, and sometimes I just freeball it. But anyway, important mechanic right here. You're going to want to yell into this orb to get rid of these monsters, but to do it correctly, you're going to have to yell into the orb while standing next to the Sentinel, and that'll become apparent in a couple seconds. But so what you're going to do is bring the orb over here, lure the Sentinel, and then yell. And you can see right now the Sentinel's head is glowing orange. That's because what happens is when you yell into an orb while standing next to a Sentinel, is your yell gets amplified, and that amplification is what kills those monsters for good. Because you saw how before, when I just yelled into it without the Sentinel, the monsters got destroyed, but then they came back in just a couple of seconds. So that's just something you're going to want to take into account. Just make sure the Sentinel is standing next to you. You're going to want to go up there to get that blue orb, and then just throw it down, and it'll land somewhere down here. And then again, it's the same exact procedure. You can see that there is just an army of these enemies here, and you're going to go ahead and get next to the Sentinel, yell at it, and there you go. All of those guys will be defeated. And I think you got to do that 1 or 2 more times before you can keep on keeping on. And again, it's really cool. You know, I was talking in past videos about how this story doesn't really have a direct narrative. You know, you're just kind of left to put the pieces together by yourself, and in some ways that's really frustrating. But I think this game, again, I can't give too much detail, but this game does a very good job at tying all loose ends at the end, and kind of it makes this story simple at the end. So once you see the ending, I think you'll be able to realize exactly what's going on. And specifically, one of the points I made earlier was that I thought it was weird how in the desert these shadowy figures seem to be afraid of us. You know, they would run away from us, and then in the next chapter they were attacking us. You know, they were trying to basically suck our soul out, and then you'll see in the next video we come across them again, and this time they're just neutral. You can walk right up to them and they won't do a thing. So before that scene, I was just talking a little bit about the shadowy figures, and that was something that was kind of really bothering me. I was putting a lot of thought into, you know, why are these things chasing me at one point, running away from me at another, and then just completely neutral? And it didn't make any sense until I got to the end of the game, and once everything's kind of put in front of you, then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. So even though this type of game always bugs me, where they don't give you a direct narrative, in this case I think the developers pull it off quite nicely, and I myself am satisfied with the ending. I know that, you know, like when I played Little Nightmares, for example, it was kind of the same deal, and with that game I was not satisfied with the story. Great game, awesome game, but just not satisfied with the story at the end. I felt like it was too ambiguous. Anyway, enough about that. You're going to come to this room here, and this is going to be a pretty large puzzle. A lot of pieces you got to consider here while you're solving it. So what you're going to want to do is grab this blue orb and then lure the sentinel over to this other platform. So you can see there's two platforms right here. Go ahead and lure him to this one. Once he gets on it, you're going to run away, and you're going to see that this staircase is now open. So go ahead and just run up the stairs. And what will happen is once you get up here, the sentinel will just naturally go back to the other platform. So you see now he's going to just walk over there. He'll stand on it. For some reason, he just tends to favor that platform. He will let the rest of the bridge emerge, and then just to keep him there, I'm actually going to drop the orb so that it lands on that platform, and now that will just keep him there for the time being. Even though that really doesn't matter, I just basically had to get rid of the orb, because now you're going to come to this area here, and we're going to have to do a bit of climbing. And I think this part's really weird, if I remember correctly. So remember, the room I was in was 2 floors, and I was on the 2nd floor when I entered this room. So I entered this room on the 2nd floor, and I'm climbing up. So instinct would tell you that if I'm climbing up from the 2nd floor, I must be going to the 3rd floor or the 4th floor. But because this game is just freaking weird at some points, you'll see that that is not the case once I emerge from this room. Yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know how else to say that without just showing you what's going to happen. And it's nothing big. It's not like a big deal or anything. I just remember playing, and when it happened to me, I was like, I had to stop for a second, and I thought, wait, what did I just do? So I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. But anyway, finally, you'll see what I mean here in a second. You get to the top of this room, and you're going to move this block away from the platform, and it will open this door, and then voila, we are now back on the 1st floor. So we started on the 2nd floor, we climbed up, and we ended up on the 1st floor. So this game doesn't really care about physics. It just wants to blow your mind. So I don't know, I just thought when I did that part it was a little weird. Anyway, so here I believe I actually messed up for a second. So you are going to grab this orb, but you're not going to want to grab it yet. I did things a bit prematurely, so instead you see what I'm doing here is I'm running up here, and The reason I decided to leave this in is I'm showing you how to get a trophy if you care. If you throw the ball and try to get it on a platform, it will go past the platform and you'll get a trophy. So watch this. I throw it, it bounces past the platform, and then I get a trophy called That Went Too Far. You could do it on the other platform too. Really stupid trophy in my opinion. You just have to throw the ball past a platform, and it's really as easy as that. And like I said, the only reason I left that in there was because I got a trophy out of it, so I figured I'd include it just in case you want to get a random trophy out of the way. But anyway, this is what you are actually supposed to do. You're supposed to bring the block over to this platform, and that will slide this little bridge over to the left. And so now you're going to pick up the orb, go up the stairs, and put it on the altar that is sitting right there. And then we are good to go. So now once you do that, now you're going to take this block here and push it back to the original platform that it was on, which is over here, and that will unlock the staircase. And then, as you can guess, we're going to go up to the bridge to the vision altar. And now that everything is lined up properly and we have all the objects we need, we can go ahead and use the vision altar to create a new object. So you see right here, it's standing right here. And remember, you can only access this if the sentinel is standing on the correct platform, which if you've done everything correctly, he should be. And then you can go ahead and do that, and there you see we have unlocked a new object. And what you're going to do is go over to that object and just yell in front of it, and that will trigger quite a big reaction and then draw us into a short little cutscene. Alright, so after that little scene, you see we have now completed our objective. We have resurrected the army of iRobots, and now you just have to follow them back to the room we came from. Now there is a trophy that, there's a trophy that's called like racing or something like that, and the description is that you have to beat the Sentinels in a race. I think that's referring to this moment here, and it's basically just saying you have to beat the Sentinels to the room. But I feel like I did that and the trophy didn't unlock. Maybe I didn't, maybe I let the Sentinel get in front of me, but I'm pretty sure I did it correctly. So you see I'm running, all the Sentinels are behind me, and I thought I would get it, but for some reason I didn't. So this must not be the area where you get it. But that's not important. Anyway, you're going to come to this room here, and you're going to see that our main Sentinel, our friend here, is already in place. And so what you're going to want to do is go ahead and climb up onto this block here and complete the puzzle by getting your shadow aligned on the wall properly. And then, boom, the door unlocks, and we're pretty much done with the chapter. You can see all the Sentinels there. They're just standing watching kind of creepily. But now it's just walking. So now you're just basically walking to the end of the level. And that'll pretty much be it for this level of the game. And then in part 10, which is the final part of the walkthrough, we will be finishing the game, and everything will come to a full circle, and then life just keeps ticking on for the channel. So if you're a new viewer, I'd recommend you subscribe, and you can see other walkthroughs that I make. What I like to do is, when no new games are coming out, I like to make walkthroughs for older games. On May 30th, so tomorrow actually, there's going to be a game called Perception coming out. I was thinking about getting it, but it's getting poor reviews so far, so I'm not entirely sure. There's a couple small games in June that I'm considering getting, but really the biggest one is Crash Bandicoot Remastered, which is coming out at the very end of June. So we'll see. If I end up not getting any new games until Crash, then I have 2 games on my reservoir, and that is Alien Isolation and Uncharted 3, and then I might also start a walkthrough for one of the Halo games. I'm not sure which one yet, but that's just an option I've been considering. So if you have any opinions on that, obviously feel free to leave it in the comments below. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much the end of this video, guys. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. And you're just going to go ahead and swim to the opening in this wall. We've done this numerous times before, and that will bring about the end of the level. So thank you, and see you next time.